Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Subit coming back with another episode of Hello Kolkata, Kolkata Calling's very own podcast series. We started a few weeks ago and we received a lot of love and support from all our community members. We hosted three guests in those first three sessions and we had great conversation. Today, we are back with another fresh session and we have some guests that we would love to introduce to you. And since we have four guests instead of one, because we have a group of young founders, entrepreneurs that we would love to talk today, I'll keep the introduction very short. So, first things first, thank you so much for the comments, the feedback that we received. We'd love to keep growing and taking your feedback. Uh, few housekeeping items for our audience who are listening live or who would be listening later. Feel free to drop in your comments, questions, which we can answer in today's session or in future sessions. Um, we would love to take also suggestions for guests we could bring, right? So we've had, Rim Jim and Abhishek Rungta, and then we've had Yamika, and today we are going to introduce a group of young co-founders. Who are the other guests that you would love to see on this podcast? Feel free to suggest their names in comments, drop us a message, and we'll try our best to get them in this podcast. You can also listen to our podcast later, which is available now on Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. So at your leisure, you can do that as well. So that's the short introduction to the podcast. Let's get started. Today, we have a very special team, a very special company. This is ZERON. ZERON is an exciting startup in the cybersecurity domain, which has been built by these four incredibly young co-founders. And ZERON has raised recently $500,000 in a seed funding round led by Verenium Capital and Yatra Angel Network. And they had raised an angel round earlier as well. So Xeron also secured its first institutional investment from 100x VC in January 2023, and the 500K round came in September 2023. So we'll learn more about Xeron. We'll learn more about the co-founders. How did they come together and build this company? So let me bring all of them in. We have Sanket Sarkar, founder and CEO Xeron. We have Snehanjan Chatterjee, co-founder and COO of Xeron. Swarnali Singha, co-founder and chief business officer, and Santosh Kumar, co-founder and CTO of ZERON. So let me add all the folks here. Hi, everybody. Good morning, Team ZERON. Thank you for joining.
Hey, Sube, good morning.
Very good
Hello,
morning.
Shubir. A very good morning.
Very good morning.
Pleasure to be connected to all of you, and thank you so much for taking time. I had reached out to Snehanjan, and I had asked, I can understand you are in the thick of things with your fundraising and expansion. Would you love to come onto this podcast? You or some other co-founder? And he said, no, all four of us would love to be there. So thank you so much for having a full house. Um, Very quickly, before I think we jump into Xeron, would love to know a little bit about each of you, right? Snehanjan, I have interacted with a bit before this, but would love to know a little bit of introduction about all of you. And obviously, I do a little bit of LinkedIn stalking. So what I understood is that some of you share common connections, and we would love to understand how those connections evolved into this uh, entrepreneurial journey. So one of you can take it forward from here.
Sure, I'll take it ahead, right? So, talking about myself, I'm into hacking for the last 10 years. Fine.
Okay.
I love hacking things, hacking anything that's around me. Might be computer, might be in real
Mm,
life. I try to
mm,
find out small tweaks in day-to-day life. Right? That's me. If you have to
mm,
describe in one word. Apart from this, there's something that drives me crazy is mathematics
mhm.
and computers as well, right? So these are the two things that drive me crazy. And yeah, one more thing which started off once we started the startup was finances. uh, it's very interesting, and you don't know actually how it might turn up into a good way or a bad way if you do not handle it properly. So these are the three
Sure.
things kind of that describes me at present.
Okay.
I know Snehanjan for the last 17 years. We were in the same school, and we used to
Yeah.
represent our state in the nationals in quizzing.
Okay.
That's how
Very
we got
interesting.
to know each other, and we have been
And this
together
is
for that
DAV,
period
I'm
of time.
assuming.
Before that also, our
Okay.
school till class 10 was St. Michael's, right? And in 11 and 12 it was DAV.
Okay.
So even that also, so we were in same school, we were in
Hmm.
same class 11, 12. We were in same college group as well, right? College buildings were different, but same college group. And we are together doing this startup as well, right? So
Wonderful.
that's how I met Snehanjan. Santosh, I interacted with Santosh through a link with Snehanjan because they were
Hmm.
classmates in college, and I met Swarnali when she came to Microsoft Imagine Academy.
Okay.
So just a note, I have been trainer for all of them in Microsoft Imagine Academy, right?
Okay.
I was in second year at that time, and I was doing that to run my own education,
Hmm.
and that's ideally how I met them. But once that was done, within 6 months everyone became trainers, right? So that's when it started, we started getting along. So that's in short about me and how I met everyone else.
Okay, wonderful. And I understand that Snehanjan and Santosh met in Techno, and then you met Swarnali through the training boot camp. Very curious to know because I was going through, profiles. There's something that I think you all started doing together, something called CSK SRC. What is that, and what role did you play there?
So, if I jump in here, CSKSRC was not ours actually. It was
Hmm.
run by a different person, and we started off as trainers,
Okay.
but in Microsoft Imagine Academy. But then there was a research wing where we research on cybersecurity, and we aim to build certain products for research into certain products and other things. So we basically became the core team of CSKSRC itself
Hmm.
under the leadership of that particular firm. And we actually that building blocks were built together, and we did workshops with even Triple IT, Kalyani, and also lots of other JU, St. Xavier's College. Did a lot of workshops in R&D, and that's where I guess we actually got the thing that we can do something of our own and build something. Because
Yeah.
before that, I guess every one of us uh, wanted to do something, but then we never knew what to do or what is actually that we can build in the long run. But after
Yeah.
that, yeah, we can do it. So that was
Interesting.
the thing we needed.
Yeah, and I've always been curious about this because you all have known each other for a sufficiently long time. You're friends. How is it having friends as co-founders and running a business together? Can't wrap my head around how the relationship changes, dynamics change once friends become business partners and founders. Either Santosh or Swarnali would love to hear your thoughts as well on this.
Yeah, sure. So this was really very interesting question. And like friends coming into business, one thing that I can say is difference in opinion, and then a small debate happening, and then coming to a conclusion out of that. That is a very important thing. The
Hmm.
most fruitful thing that can happen out of any discussion. So the best part is we understand each other. We understand each other's thoughts as well, so we know like what is that perspective that one is thinking about, right? And then that debate that happens, so that is a healthy one and a constructive one. And
Hmm.
out of that, we generally all our critical discussions or anything, like we make it in that way only. So each
Yeah.
has that unique perspective.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, because I've seen a few of my friends start up together, uh, I think you also know your strengths and weaknesses very well because you've sort of, known each other for a while. And I think that helps identify who's fit for what and what somebody should not touch because they have a different personality, they have a different approach. Would love to understand the birth of Team Cognito, I think, which is the first venture you all started together. Would love to know a little bit about the birth of it, what was the idea behind it, how it came to be.
I'll take that on because it's a long story. Okay.
Okay, we
I
have
was in
time.
first year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in first year, and as I said, uh, I have been into hacking for a long time. So I formed a
Yeah.
group of people, and we were
Hmm.
called the Team Incognito.
Okay.
Okay, it was not Team Incognito; it was called the Team Incognito, a group of 8 hackers. Fine,
Okay.
and trust me, uh,
Hmm.
out of these 8 people, no one else knew. Even the members didn't knew who were the other 7 members.
Okay.
Okay,
Very
so it
secret
was that
society.
kind of a, yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
Okay.
Except for me, because I was accumulating these people. Okay,
Hmm.
and we used to hack for fun, right? Without
Yeah.
like hampering anything at all, just to find out the loopholes that are there.
Sure.
But that point in time, I did not understand business.
Hmm.
So slowly, around like 4 or 5 months, this group vanished. It kind of evaporated. I
Hmm.
could not find people. Then I tried building another one when I was in second year itself, and it didn't work out. Right,
Hmm.
which gave me a very good understanding that to build a company, the first and foremost thing that you need is the co-founders, the most important pillars, right? We still have that text. It was around 6 in the morning. I texted Snehanjan, let's start Team Cognito. Okay, he said,
Hmm.
yeah, let's do it. We reached out to Santosh and Swarnali. We had like a week's discussion on this, like what are we thinking and all. And we all agreed that we don't know what we want to build right now. Right. We
Hmm.
want to build something, but not clear what we want to build. And we took a plunge into that. That's how it started. We
Hmm.
didn't know what we want to build as a product. We always wanted to be a product-based company, but our strengths
Hmm.
were AI and cybersecurity. Okay, and we started doing work on those kind of stuff with the clients across the globe. Right. So that's how Team Cognito was born. If
Hmm.
you tell me how Team Cognito was born, if I have to give a one-liner, it was for me the search for the right co-founders who are going uh, to take the long war with uh, the whole world and be
Hmm.
by my side. Right. So
Wonderful.
that's how it started.
Yeah. And I'm also curious because all four of you are fairly young, though you might feel old because now you started up and 1 year feels like 10, is what I've been told. But how was the support from family or other friends? Like when sort of you told them that you're going into entrepreneurship, you're not going into the traditional after engineering, join a company, work there for a few years, maybe get an MBA, go into a bank. How was the reception and support from each of your families? Would love to know.
Just because you start use the word MBA, Santosh, why don't you answer this one?
Go ahead, Santosh.
Even I'll say 1 year back, also my parents used to tell me, "Please go to MBA. What are you doing?" Right.
Yeah.
So when we started off with this in my house and everyone, right, they used to say, "Okay, you're playing because you are just in the college and everything, right?
Sure.
Chalo, theek hai. You are just earning some money and all. That's good, right? But what about the future as well? What are you going
Hmm.
to do? You need to do and at least my parents were very much focused on the government job, right? As in
Hmm.
do an
Okay.
army or NDA examinations and everything. I even did NDA and all that thing, right? But
Okay.
I didn't wanted to go for that because my entire passion was in this. As you
Hmm.
mentioned, right? We four all of us coming together, right? We had a one vision, right? About we want to do something in the field of cybersecurity and AI. Right?
Hmm.
That's what brings us, I'll say, together as well.
Yeah.
And but with the due course of time, I'll say parents also understood. Okay, yes, they are doing something good. They are doing something
Yeah.
great as well, right?
Hmm.
And I'll say yes, that's how they also get aligned with our own vision as well. Okay, hey, let's do this.
Okay.
So even
Swarnali?
whenever anything comes
Yeah.
up as well, even
Yeah.
parents do support us as of right now.
Of course.
Yes,
Of course. I think for parents, I think it's more from the perspective of that, to
security,
protect you as an individual, and so that you don't suffer hardships that they
correct.
probably overcame early in their lives, and they want you to take the more traditional beaten path. But I think once you've taken that plunge, they definitely are your biggest supporters. Love to hear Snehanjan, Swarnali, your experience with your family. How was the support there?
Uh, my parents never really opposed it, but
Hmm.
there was a lot of one thing good happened is we started off while we were in college itself. So it gave
Yeah.
us a 1.5 year time to just build it while we were still in college. But the main thing happened is when I already had a job offer.
Hmm.
But it was time to decide ki job join করবো না startup
Yeah.
continue
That,
করবো.
that's a big step. Yeah.
And it was a like 1 month kind of every day I was asking myself, I was asking. I had a friend with whom I used to go on, a couple of friends whom we used to go for walks in the evening, and I used to ask them, "Hi, কি করবো? তোর কি
Hmm.
মনে হয় কি করা উচিত?" তো at the end of the day, even my parents and my friends were like, এতদিন অবধি এটার উপর কাজ করা হয়েছে তো just continue কর, তারপর দেখা যাবে কি করা যাবে, you are good enough to get a job whenever you want. And that's how it just kick started. Swarnali
Nice.
has a very interesting story. Swarnali.
Okay.
So mine happened like this is before the startup also, just few days back when we started with the startup, you can say. So jeta hoy, I think I was in second year of my college. So what happens in the society normally, like মেয়ে কলেজের পর কি করবে, বিয়ে করতে হবে,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
So that is the notion, right?
Hmm.
So that is something that I faced, and I will thank the team here, like Sanket, Snehanjan, and Santosh. Like they gave a immense backup,
Hmm.
like uh, like helping me to help my family to understand like what I want to do, and towards what I'm passionate about and what I'm doing currently. Okay, so they eventually understood. The first day was a hiccup, so I
Hmm.
went home, and there was a like determination rushing in my veins. Ki,
Hmm.
whatever the like everyone is saying, I have to just go against it, and I just need to do things that I want to do. So I just
Hmm.
said to my family, see, I do not want to like do any job or anything like BAs or Agdomina. So I really want to get started with this startup, and like I think that I can create an impact more that I want to do in life.
Sure.
So first day they were like কি বাচ্চাদের মতো কথা হচ্ছে, like
Hmm.
এরকম হয় না, right? So you are losing direction maybe or something, but then eventually when they saw me working and what we are trying to do together, then
Yeah.
my mom was the biggest support of that. So like we started having meetings at our place, and she used to support us like anything.
Hmm.
So she also eventually became a marketeer, unofficial marketeer of us.
Okay. Very nice.
So yeah, that was the support that I have got until now. That is the biggest support.
Hmm. Wonderful. And Sanket?
I told you, right? I'm a hacker.
Okay. So
So
your parents had already known that you were going to take some weird career trajectory.
yeah, that was clear to them in first year.
Okay.
But I never told when I started actually. Right?
Hmm.
So they didn't knew till the point a crucial moment came. Right? And they didn't even know that I've registered the company.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, the only point when they came to knew about it when I had placement offers. Fine. And I told
Hmm.
that this is the scene, this is what we are doing, and these are the clients that we are working with. That was a kind of a dilemma because I had got three offers,
Hmm.
and I won't take the company names.
Sure.
But one of the company, I asked for something like, "Can you give me this role? Because the role that you are offering me, I'm not interested. I'm into
Okay.
cybersecurity, and can you give me this particular role in this particular position and this particular package?" It was kind of
Hmm.
4 times the offer that they had given me. I had asked for that, and within 24 hours, they sent that. Right? It kind of
Hmm.
became a dilemma for me. Okay, because I was like, "What should I do? Shall I go and take some experience or not?" That was the time I called my father. and said, "Ki, this is the scenario." And he told me, "Ki, you have been doing this so long, right?
Hmm.
And think about it. You have already invested this much amount of time. Pulling out at this stage won't be a good idea." So I was like, "Okay, my
Hmm.
decision is made. I'm cutting the call, right? I don't want to get into any other conversations. Never know when it turns away." So I mailed that
Hmm.
I'm not joining. And there's one thing that I would like to mention. I've never mentioned. I've never vocal about the kind of support that I've got from my family.
Sure.
Uh, it was 2 years back. My uncle was in deathbed. Okay,
Hmm.
and we were supposed to go somewhere to pitch. Fine. My father told me something. If you go to that pitch and if you can win, you would be able to change some lives. If you come here, you are
Hmm.
not a doctor. You can't do anything,
Hmm.
right? Uh, so that's the level of support I get right now, and yeah, uh,
Yeah.
there are and in this whole factor there is a very good parameter. So in the world of programming, if you have functions, right, there are parameters. A
Sure.
very good parameter is played by the society and relatives. Okay.
Hmm.
uh, last year I gifted my father a car because he was getting old, and he fell 2 times from bike while going to office.
Hmm.
Trust me, I don't know how you would react to this, but I when I got to know this, I was like, I couldn't stop my laughter. What was going around in the my village, right? I come
Hmm.
from a place in Bakura. What was
Okay.
going around is সংকেতের বিয়ে ঠিক হয়ে গেছে, এটা মেয়ের বাড়ি থেকে পাঠিয়েছে।
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
Snehanjan, Santosh, and Swarnali, like we all four went. So Santosh was driving, and it
Yeah.
was notion যে এরা মেয়ের বাড়ি থেকে এসছে গাড়িটা দিতে।
Amazing. I think,
So
yeah, I mean,
society is
these
a
are all
very important parameter how the support system works, right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah. I mean, and I think all four stories that, of how you got that, push and obviously fight sometimes with your family initially to pursue your dreams. Fantastic stories. I think, and especially in Bengali
fight still
households,
happens. Fight still
fight still
happens
happens.
when there is something at home and they're like, you have to come to home, and we're like, no, we can't. There's a meeting. Fight still happens. It's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. No, but I think specifically in Bengali households, we've seen this and we've spoken about it to Abhishek Rungta also, because he grew up in a very different environment of always wanting to go into business. But in Bengali families, we've seen that little bit of risk aversion, right? Go for a salaried job, government or otherwise, like Santosh was saying, government is the safest option, then go to Tata and then maybe private sector. So I think that approach from society, as you mentioned, sometimes holds us back. But again, I think thanks to young founders like you and popularity of startups, proliferation of mobile technology, everybody's trying to do something outside the usual traditional careers. I think that's opened up not just Kolkata but even tier 1, tier 2 towns to this idea that young folks coming out of school and college don't always need to find a job with a large organization and migrate. They can start up with a group of friends with a laptop and get into business. So I think these stories, more and more that they come up, I think will change the perception and narrative of society as well. With that, Team Zeron would love to now get into about Zeron, right? Why? I know all of you said that you wanted to do something in cybersecurity and AI. So how did Zeron come to be? Uh, what was the solution that you thought of? What was the need in the market? That's what I would understand. And obviously, I am a luddite in this domain, right? Cybersecurity, AI, not a technical person at all. So I would love to understand, and obviously so would our viewers. So in simple terms, make us understand what is this cyber risk posture management that Zeron does, and how did Zeron as a company, as a solution come to be?
So should we just to tell you, right? It was just not a day's thought. It was kind of
Hmm.
3 years when the first thing happened, when the first node happened to actually we thought about Xeron. It had that kind of a journey.
Yeah.
So it started initially with something that I did. I was sitting back one day. I hacked into 86 organizations in a single day.
Hmm.
Reported to all of them, and the kind of data that I had was like, if used in a proper way, it could be fatal. Okay, I
Hmm.
reported to all of them. Surprisingly, none of them replied. So I
Wow.
had a mentor, and through him, I connected with this organization and tried to understand like the kind of data that I have is like super, super, super critical. Why are they not responding to it? The cybersecurity people understood what was the criticality, but the management was like, "मेरा धंधा सही चल रहा है ना.
Hmm.
Why do I need to care?"
Hmm.
That was the thing that I noticed at that point of time. But after that, I did not have any market validation or thing to start working on it. Right?
Hmm.
And all four of us were together at that time. So we decided, like, okay, let's start off with cybersecurity services, AI, and all of these things, and start getting to know that how things work. In that particular journey, we created something and we failed. And I want
Okay.
to put this story forward because why failing is so much important if you want to build for a long term, because that is very important. And we built something which many people don't know is was an AI marketplace, okay,
Okay.
which was known as AI Mart. Fine. And we
Okay.
miserably failed in it. And I can talk for everyone's behalf of here. We have no shame in it. We are glad
Hmm.
that we failed in that. And that is the reason why Xeron could take the baby steps. I won't say like we are successful, we have created a big impact. Not yet. We are not done yet. With this long lot more that we want to do and create that impact across the cybersecurity world, right? But AI Mart was very important in our whole journey and the way we failed. I would pass on the mic to Snehanjan to speak about that journey and the lessons that we learned from here, because this is something very important, right? Because people don't see the whole journey; they would just see, okay, they're building around, wow, great. But
Hmm.
those stories actually give you that fuel to move ahead. So,
Okay.
like based on the tech and all, Santosh would give, but on this particular note.
Yeah.
Snehanjan had a very closed touch on this, and that's somewhat we had someone where we slowly started understanding finances. Right,
Hmm.
Swarnali, you can also speak on the lack of idea that we had with respect to how to do GTM and all those things, and those were like buzzwords for us at that point of time. We
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
People would come and say CAC, LTV, and all this. Trust me, at that point of time, these were all buzzwords for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Snehanjan.
So AI was already our strength, and AI Mart basically was our first kind of idea because we did a lot of work with AI for a lot of other customers in terms of services. However, when we started to build a product, we could build a good product. There's no doubt about it. But building a product and building a business are two different things.
Sure.
And that's what AIMA showed us because, first of all, we didn't understand the target audience here. We didn't understand what exactly are we doing. And we didn't understand the finances part of it, how the finances would work.
Hmm.
And the more we failed with AI Mart, we realized, first of all, this is right now not our segment. And with that every failure actually pushed us to Xeron because this is something which we absolutely on this market we understand in terms of
Hmm.
cybersecurity. We
Okay.
understand the target audience. We understand how the finances in cybersecurity works somehow. Even if we don't, we can research and find out. But
Yeah.
in a kind of e-commerce sector, we had no idea what we are doing, and we just built a product and started it out. But those steps, when every failure, with every bashing we got, whenever we try to pitch it, we
Hmm.
could relate that this is not something we are very good at, and
Hmm.
those learnings actually helped us build Xeron in a much more proper way as we get along.
Okay. And I think
There
cybersecurity
was,
is, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
there was something known as user research, right? which
Hmm.
which we lacked. We didn't even know how that is to be done. And that was the first thing that we did while building Xerox. Swarnali would be talking on that, right? And that like map that with actually what I did 3 years back, how that could be related. And then came our genius Santosh, who took up, said, "Okay, we have done this. Fine. Now leave it on to me. I'll build the tech." Right.
Okay.
So that's how it's shaped up, right? Yeah, Ashubidhi was telling something about
Yeah,
cybersecurity.
no, I think cybersecurity obviously, you know, has become extremely important in the last, decade. And I was surprised to hear that story that, companies who had been hacked into and had been notified did not respond. And I was wondering whether it's they didn't want to admit that they have, lapses in their cybersecurity compliance, or they are just, too ignorant to even understand the, magnitude of the threat. So would love to hear from Shornali and Santosh about how these ideas sort of came together, some from feedback from failures, and some the things that you'd already done to sort of shape Xeron into what you call it today as a CRPM platform.
Sure, Shubit. So yeah, as they were also mentioning about AI mart, right? So one thing that lacked in us, we realized later on, that is the passion. Like,
Hmm.
why even we are building that if we do not have that passion for that, right?
Hmm.
But when we started building Zaron, we could see like we are passionate about it, and we really want to understand more about like what we can do, how to do things, and we want to move ahead with this. So that was one thing. And now, yes, as you said, like what was that like, even if they are like knowing like there is a cyber threat and
Hmm.
they are not prioritizing that, like what is that thought process or the psychology behind that? So I
Hmm.
came to know about that when like we were doing that user research, right? So this was known as the hypothesis validation for us.
Hmm.
So this notion that Sanket said, like management not addressing the importance of prioritizing cybersecurity. So this was the hypothesis that we were trying to validate, like what happens
Hmm.
behind the scene, right? So we almost interviewed and did a survey like with 70% of the CISOs all over India. And then
Hmm.
we came up with this that it is very difficult to translate the words of cyber risk and cyber security to the management, because
Hmm.
what they understand is business, finance, compliance, and then how they can grow and scale that, right?
Yeah.
But trying to make them understand like what are the cyber risk, how that can create an impact in your business, what is the
Hmm.
revenue loss that you can have, like if you're thinking about cybersecurity today, where you can go tomorrow, that journey. So this context was lacking. And trust me, this research, like this is not us just coming up with the thought, this has been happening all over the world for a long time,
Yeah.
right? And no one was actually coming up with a sort of solution that everyone can use, right?
Hmm.
So that was the point. Like research is going on, but the implementation was lacking a bit, right?
Okay.
So then we focused on, so we actually tried different industries, first of all. Like there was education, manufacturing, healthcare, BFSI, and then many others, right? Then we saw like for our product, the early customers can be the BFSI because
Sure.
they are like the early adopters because of the compliance, and
Yeah.
also like they are heavily compliant in terms of cybersecurity. So they can be the early adopters of Xeron. So we focused onto that, like we narrowed it down, right?
Hmm.
And then we started having that analysis in terms of geolocations. Right. We started off with West Bengal and then South, and then like we also like did a survey from the North, and then like Maharashtra. then we found out like we are getting that response, and the decision making happens mostly in Maharashtra because of all the headquarters here,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
because of like mostly the CISOs and everyone, they are based out of here.
Yeah.
And the things that we were getting in our meetings, that they were requesting us to come over there. And we also tried visiting like couple of times, traveling, but then we saw like this is uh, like this is very hectic, like if you have to travel like thrice or like something like that in a month. So we saw like, and one more thing, like the maturity also doesn't come within four of us. The team needs to get matured, like as per the insights we are getting from the
Yeah.
market. So we
Yeah.
slowly thought about the process, like how we can slowly like make the team come here so that they can understand the maturity, the use cases, by communicating with the customers, by visiting the offices and the locations. So
Yeah.
that is how we have planned everything.
Hmm.
So this was the thing, and like Xeron is all about that. Like when we speak about the CRPM, cyber risk posture management, so we speak about that journey, like when you are at base zero, how you can scale up with your cybersecurity. And it's
Got
not
it.
just a realization. You will have the context, like how you are going that steps. So it will
Yeah.
let you know how much maturity you are attaining.
Yeah. I'm curious though. I mean, because you are all four of you when you started Xeron, fresh out of college, or maybe already, still in college. And when you're going to talk to these CISOs to do a survey, I can understand. Again, they might be a little bit more hesitant in sharing information around their compliances, but definitely they can talk about what their vision and approach is. But when four young, freshly pass out graduates go to CISOs and say that, hey, we've invented a solution that can help your manage your cyber risk and compliance better. Do you get pushback saying, but tum to kal hi school se nikle ho? What do you know about cyber security? Would love to know if you have had those
Hmm.
experiences, because there's always a preponderance on additional weightage on gray hair or no hair. So would
Hmm.
love to hear that experience as well.
So one thing I think Sanket, Snehanjan, like they can speak on that. So one thing was we tried to have a strong partner.
Hmm.
Like we like came to Aditya Birla, right, for a design partner proposal, because when you have a backup like this and you build the use cases in your product, and you can name it like these are the use cases and they were the design partners, so that gives a validation.
Hmm.
So that was one of the strategies. And to Snehanjan now.
Uh, I think I can speak at length about it. This is something, yeah, it takes time to build that trust with the CISOs and CS
Hmm.
everything. But this is also a matter of culture, I feel, which I can talk at length. Where it actually what you said, we faced a lot in Kolkata.
Hmm.
Like, what would you tell us? You are just
Correct.
kids.
Yeah.
But when we go with a solution, uh, in especially in Mumbai or in Bangalore also, the focus is on the solution and not the person who is bringing the solution.
Sure.
So I guess like there is a mentality of, yeah, is the solution right or not? First of all, just check out that. If they love the solution, they would back you to the hill. Like even cracking Aditya Birla Capital and onboarding them as a design partner, like they help us a lot in shaping the product. But here we approach a lot of big names, and except couple of who have really mentored us a lot. But most of the people in Kolkata didn't have a mentality ki you are kids, we know it better. And there's a also there were a lot of things that this is not your product. You are just a white labeling a product or something like that.
Hmm.
Sanket,
Yeah. So and Santosh has been quiet for a while, so I'll come to Santosh directly. So Santosh, for our viewers and me especially, could you just explain what is CRPM in very layman's terms? And I read something very interesting that you have this ABCD approach, which sounds very simple. Would love to
Mhm.
know what that is and how does that fit into the whole Xeron ecosystem.
Definitely. So cyber risk posture management platform, right? As I initially this CRPM, while we were developing our product, right, there was multiple pivots that we needed to do, right? And at the start of the product, there was not A, B, C, D. There
Hmm.
was just A and D, right? There
Okay.
was C was missing, B was not there as well, right? So as Swarnali mentioned, we did user research, what they want, what the CISOs want, and everything. We came up with C module. Later, we came up with the B module as well, right? And that's how this ABCD approach come into place.
Could you explain a little more on what these ABCDs are?
Definitely. So A means the attack surface. Right? So if I talk about from the organization point of view, right, from where the risk could be generated. So one is
Hmm.
of course from the external, like let's say for example, if a kid is going out to play, right, he can get hurt, right,
Sure.
while playing football or cricket, anything. All right. Now, Sanket, you are laughing.
Yeah.
Just on a banter side, the reason he is giving this example is 2 weeks back we were playing football. Santosh is having a fractured leg. He's taking this
Oh.
call from home, right? So that was an external attack surface which he could not detect.
Okay.
It
I
was
think
unknown
I
to
will
me.
remember this concept now very well. But Santosh, hope you get well soon. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So the A means the external attack surface through which an organization can get hurt.
Sure.
The B means like everything related to business, like what Shonali
Hmm.
mentioned and the team mentioned as well. How these risk is affecting the organization as a whole.
Hmm.
I know that there is cybersecurity risk, but what is the financial impact of that risk onto the organization? Is the
Sure.
organization we are always thinking of expansion? Hey, this organization has expanded into this area or this location, geographic locations as well. But what are the risks associated with that? So we take in parameters. What are the compliance? So let's say, for example, if I have to go to US and expand, I need to follow the law of the land as well there.
Sure.
All the legalities, all the compliances that is there for US market as well. So taking all these, so C is the compliance module, right, of
Hmm.
ours, and D is a defense module. Like we put
Okay.
our organization put up a lot of security measures in place, right, to protect the data, right, from the external threats, from the threats as well, right. So we take in all these parameters, right, and then provide them a risk posture management platform, right. What is it? It basically gives you, okay, hey, you're standing here,
Okay.
like this is where you need to go. It's a complete cybersecurity roadmap journey that our Xeron platform provides to the
Okay.
CISOs, to the board management, to different stakeholders who are involved in also cybersecurity discussions.
Got it. Okay. I think very simply, and I claim to understand a little bit of it. Also very curious because both of you earlier said that cybersecurity and AI, right? So how does Xeron bring so cybersecurity? You explained very well the ABCD module. Where does AI fit in, and how does that enhance your offering for your customers?
Definitely. So AI plays a very vital role in our entire suite, right? Whether it's A, whether it's B, C, D, and our
Hmm.
entire CRPM solution as well. The way it plays, like let's say for example, in the compliance module, so we have our Zin AI, right, that is named after Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, right?
Hmm.
And this Zin would basically read through all of your compliances, would read through all of your security measures, everything,
Okay.
understand the context of that, right? Because initially we had this, I'll say, NLP languages and everything. Right now we have LLM models, right, which
Hmm.
is very much adapt to understanding the context in human terms,
Yeah.
not just in technical terms, but in human terminologies as well, right?
Yeah.
So it understands those bylaws as well as those compliance, like I'll say, writings, text, anything, right? And then would provide suggestions on top of that, what needs to be done, right?
Hmm.
So we have our Zin model, which is continuously learning as well as we speak right now, right? With our
Hmm.
like I'll say continuously reinforcement learning as well, right? And then we are providing them
Yeah.
with all the suggestions, all the we are creating a roadmap for them. Okay, hey, this is what you need to do at this stage of time, right?
Hmm.
This is what would be the budget be if there are any other risk scenarios as well which might occur or unknown. I'll say unknown. all the unknowns and everything, which we might not perceive, right? Which is there happening in, let's say, for example, Ukraine or some
Yeah.
other war-torn countries, right?
Yeah.
So that might affect us somehow, but we
Yeah.
might not know. So all those
Mm.
parameters which we're taking continuously, and this is happening with the help of our AI model.
Okay, this is actually very interesting, and I have one more question. Sorry for going deeper into this because I also want to learn and understand. So typically, what I have seen from a little bit of my experience dealing with enterprise customers is when you mention AI to them, right? They have this certain knee-jerk reaction saying, "Oh, if you're using AI, then will you be using our data to train your model? And when that data goes into your model, where does that data go from there? We lose control over that." So now, for you, you are talking about organization cyber security risk management. On the other hand, you are using AI. So do you get that kind of a double pushback saying, oh, but you're using AI to make us more secure, but we don't believe AI to be secure? So how does that play a role in your conversations? If you can talk about that as well.
Definitely. So, for the first thing is that we take in the data, right, of the organizations, but we anonymize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we do not train it on our own, our own central server. We train it onto their own systems itself, and that is
Okay.
for the organization to get benefited from that.
Hmm.
Because,
Okay.
and this is what happens in the federated learning model.
Okay.
So what happens is you have your own data, right? And we just push in some agent, right, which basically collects those data on their servers itself, right? Not to our server. It does not communicate with us.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
train it accordingly, and then they feed it to our the context. They feed it to our algorithms, right? So
Interesting.
we are
Very
not
interesting.
taking the data from the organizations. We are taking the data onto their server itself. All the computations and everything is happening there, so that they could get more benefited by that, right? And then the final end result is being transferred to us.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Thanks for so much for that, Santosh, for that explainer for me. I feel a little wiser now. Very interested to know, and maybe Sanket, Snehanjan, you can come to this. How did the funding come about? Because obviously, you tested your idea, you got some early success, but to get funding for, as you mentioned, the business side of things, the finance side of things, which you did not probably know before, but you knew your technical parts very well. How did you get into this angel network? How did you secure your funding? Take us through that journey a little bit.
Sure. So we had applied for 100x in
Hmm.
2021. We got rejected.
Hmm.
2022, they reached out to us. Okay, saying that they want to evaluate. Okay, fine. And we had like 3 4 calls. Yeah, and then they called us to Mumbai. They gave a We had discussion, and they gave a projection sheet to make. Right, we had to
Hmm.
make it that day itself, or we had to wait next day. We had
Oh.
already booked our. We were in Bangalore, and Snehanjan was
Hmm.
in Kolkata. So
Hmm.
we had booked our buses for next day. And we had to like do it that day itself. Right. Snehanjan completed the projection sheet in 45 minutes. Even the VCs were shocked. Like
Wonderful. Well done.
so, in our community, by the way, Snehanjan is known as the guy with numbers. Okay.
Hmm.
So he's that strong with numbers. So, and one thing that happened was they could see a lot of clarity in us as founders, and we could prove that we were the right founders to build this business. So that's how 100x happened, right? And after that, they have this masterclass and all, and then we have the angel round. So we're
Hmm.
raising a certain amount. We got oversubscribed within 24 hours. Okay,
Wonderful.
and we had to actually say a no to almost most of the angels. We could not take everyone.
Hmm.
So after that, Varanium's research team reached out to us. We had a couple of conversations, and like we literally closed it very fast with Varanium. They were very quick with the decision making, I would say, right? We had
Hmm.
1 2 3 4 calls, and the deal was done, right?
Wonderful.
After that, the due diligence and all, obviously that takes time. So
Sure.
it was around 6 months journey for us till the funds hit. It was this particular journey from where it started to where it ended was this smooth. The interesting story is before that.
Yeah.
The first time we thought of raising funds, we had made a pitch deck, right? In the ask slide, we had mentioned $5 million. Okay.
Okay.
No justification, nothing, no projections, nothing was there.
Yeah.
And I sent it to someone. He told me, "You want me to send this to a VC? You know you would be blacklisted for life." I was, "What? I am asking." He said, "Okay, tell me, why do you need this money?" Okay, इसका भी justification देना होगा क्या? I was like, okay. So we had like no clue about raising funds because we had been running a super bootstrap business for a few years. The reason we came to this journey of fundraising was we want to build it big, and time is a factor for us. Otherwise, we would have loved to build a bootstrap business, but to get that push, we kind of need a boost. So that was the reason we got into this journey. When we are in those phases, while we were learning stuff, gets more interesting. We're like, okay, क्या सोच के किए थे ये?
No, I think you should frame that pitch deck for future, because
I still have that pitch deck. Have that pitch deck.
These are the days of visualization and manifestation. Who knows, $5 million would be around the corner. But Sanket, I think very interesting. You said that you want to, needed that boost, wanted to, build it big. What are the expansion plans for ZERON in the coming days, months, years?
So we are like, we do have customers in India, obviously, right? And we would be continuing to grow through the length and breadth of the country. Apart from that, we are getting a huge interest from the ASEAN region: Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, all these regions, right? We also we onboarded customers from Dubai as well, and they're getting a great value from our product. So this is there. Apart from that, if you talk about how we are planning to look into the operations of the organizations, right now our corporate headquarters is Mumbai, right? But our registered address is Kolkata, and we do intend to have a considerable amount of our workforce from Kolkata, because that is something for us which is giving back, right? And actually contributing, because we believe that West Bengal has a lot of potential. It has great potentials. There's a thin line only which needs to be broken, which is ideation and execution. If we can just break that line, I think we will have like huge kind of a growth from that place. We can look at few great examples who actually could break that line and went huge. Wow Momo, right? It's one of the largest startups in the country, right? But the focus is more on the food and the D2C space. In terms of tech, we have huge talent in West Bengal, and I think there can be a huge potential to nurture that and bring that to another level.
Yeah. And I think which is a nice segue into, this section that we typically, ask our guests to speak about is the Kolkata ecosystem, right? And I know early on in our conversation, all of you referenced that, there is a little bit of risk aversion in society. There is a little bit pushback and overvaluing seniority rather than talent. Since you're born out of this ecosystem, and obviously now you've expanded and left the nest sort of, what do you see are some of the challenges in the Kolkata startup ecosystem, to be as candid and frank as possible? And obviously I understand that the reason for choosing Mumbai as corporate is because the proximity to businesses, BFSI there, which I understand, and that's absolutely a no-brainer. But even while you were growing from Kolkata, what kind of challenges did you face? And from your experience, what do you think needs to change there?
In terms of when we started off, one of the great helps, I would say, first of all, the good things, great help was Webel. Webel provided a lot of support, and especially Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who is now MD of Webel. We did our first pilot in the state data center, which helped us shape our product. and in that way, in the capacity that they can and they are empowered with, they help a lot. So that
Yeah.
is one of the great things about the ecosystem. In terms of challenges, first of all, yeah, it's an inherent challenge that the buying capacity in Kolkata is limited. There are
Sure.
few huge companies, but the number of companies are less. So enterprise buying is a bit of a challenge. Second challenge I
Yeah.
would like to identify, even if you are building in Kolkata, you can sell to the world. There is not a problem with that. If you
Absolutely.
can figure
Absolutely.
out a way. But the main, sometimes I would say the main challenge which the young entrepreneurs face, especially we face, the ecosystem, there are couple of genuine ecosystem builders who
Hmm.
actually give proper advices, how to fundraise, how to build a business, how to give your finances. But there are a lot of players in the ecosystem which actually malign the ecosystem.
Hmm.
There are a lot of opportunistic players which who come to all kinds of conferences and all kinds of things, but they don't really give proper advices. Rather than
Hmm.
they have their own opportunistic businesses which uh, don't really help anyone other than
Hmm.
themselves. So
Sure.
that is a very big thing that has kind of maligned the ecosystem. A couple of good players are coming in right now, and they are helping the build ecosystem, which is very important. And another thing I would like to, I have thought about it a lot. Kolkata has a lot of HNIs,
Hmm.
but there is a lack of culture of angel investing. I think if
Hmm.
some organizations can bring in and help them understand how angel investing works,
Yeah.
and you can actually institutionalize them in proper way, rather than
Yeah.
maybe not investing as much in real estate or something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
some part of their
Asset
assets.
class. It's become, yeah, it's
That's,
become a whole new asset class in itself. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So if they can, maybe teach them or have them institutionalized. So what a lot of these angel networks and even a lot of the players today are doing, they have institutionalized these angel investors and giving them a base on how to invest in startups and everything. So this, there is a lot of HNIs in Kolkata. Maybe someone, if they can figure out a way to institutionalize them and figure out a way so that they can start investing and then take it from there.
Okay. Wonderful.
Just
And
for
thanks for
statistics,
being,
Kolkata has the just for statistics, Kolkata has the third highest number of HNIs
yeah,
city-wise in the country.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think this is something, very well brought out, Snehanjan and Sanket. We were discussing with Abhishek Rungta the other day, and he said that I've been investing in companies even before this was a recognized asset class. So there are people, as you rightly said, who are selflessly building, trying to help and contribute to the system, and obviously there are certain, I would say, not so nice players as well, and they are more probably focused on their self aggrandizement and self interest compared to the overall ecosystem's interest, which will always be there. But I think I do hear a lot of positives in your voice, especially the Webel example, who supported you in terms of sort of an incubation period that you went through. So I think we need more support for our other young entrepreneurs who want to take that plunge and start their own businesses. So what I'll do is I'll come to each one of you, and since you were very very young when you started, and obviously knowing a lot of things but not knowing so many things, uh, if you had to give each one of you, and I'll go one by one, one advice which could come from your mistakes, lessons learned, whatever, but one advice each from all four of you for young entrepreneurs who are planning to start up. Okay,
I'll
let's go
start
with
off.
who's
Okay.
going first.
I'll start off. My
Okay.
advice will be patient and fearless.
Okay. Okay. Patience and fearlessness.
Fearless.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Santosh.
I would say have always have that persistence,
Hmm.
right? In during the course of time while you're building something, right, you might fail. There will be ups and downs, but
Yeah.
having that persistence and that dream of that vision, always keep that in touch. That would be my advice.
Okay. Swarnali.
One is take feedback, but go with your instincts.
Hmm. Okay. Sanket?
Uh, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm not
Okay.
sure how many people would relate to it. I would say be like Goku. Every
Mm.
time he falls, he comes back stronger. You will fall for sure. Take that accountability that yes, it was your mistake, you fell, but come back stronger. That has been my mantra at least.
Okay, fantastic. I think, firstly, I mean, I think this is, for me personally, has been a very engaging session to learn, about the journey that all four of you have undertaken and where you are today, and also learn about your product, whatever little bit I could understand. But thanks so much for explaining that to a layperson like me. Very curious. Obviously, we wish, as part of the Kolkata Calling community, we wish the very best to Xeron in their growth journey ahead. In terms of your presence in the startup ecosystem, you're from Kolkata. I know you mentioned that you want to have talent from Kolkata, and there's plenty of amazing talent. Uh, what I would say is your vision specific to Kolkata startup ecosystem. Are you planning to, do some master classes for other young entrepreneurs in schools, colleges, your respective institutes? Any thoughts, any plans for that? Would love to know as well.
Me and Sanket, especially, in fact, all of us, and even few of our other companies who are from Kolkata. There are a number of them who are in Mumbai, started off in Kolkata. We all have a group, Kolkata entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and everyone think about we have to do something. Of course, we have to first get there ourselves to be able to teach people anything.
Sure.
But we all want to do something. First of all, maybe have some presence there in the short term, and eventually create a better ecosystem, which sometimes we didn't have. Maybe we can give it to them so that they can understand what's the reality of it, not some pushy pictures or something like that, but what's the reality of it. And we wish to make it happen sometimes, even if I am in the, even I have a friend in the Kolkata IT hub, and they are
Yes.
also a huge support for us. And
Yeah.
I also had a talk with them. Some way we can, if we can do something so that entrepreneurship is propagated in a
Is
better
this by
way.
any chance Shaunak?
Yes.
Okay. Shaunak and I have also been in touch, and he's a fantastic guy. Kolkata IT Hub is doing phenomenally well. So great to know that you are also connected. He sent me a message recently. He's gone out for studies. He sent me a message. Oh, you're bringing Team Zeron. Fantastic. We'll be tuning in. So I think both Kolkata Calling and Kolkata IT Hub, we are trying to spread positive news around Kolkata. And thanks to people like you who give us those news that we can share with our community. So, from my side and from our community side, Team Zeron, Snehanjan, Santosh, Sanket, Swarnali, thank you so much for taking time on a Sunday. I know probably you get only Sundays off, or maybe not even that, in terms of how your schedules are. But thank you so much for taking time and talking to us about your journey and Zeron. Any parting thoughts, Sanket, Snehanjan, Santosh, Swarnali, and then we can close the live stream.
I would say it was an amazing experience, and I would say just keep going and get the right people, get the right news to the people, so that Kolkata is rejuvenated.
Thank you, Snehanjan.
Shubhit, this was really amazing. You were like a bridge where we are communicating with Kolkata, right? So, just last message that I want to get this out is people need to get out of their comfort zone,
Mhm.
right? Because I feel that is something that is required in there, right? So, yeah. So, thank you, Shubhit, for arranging this call.
My pleasure.
So with just last one, great thing that you're doing here, right? And I hope it continues as well, so that this positivity that you're talking about spreads and even motivates other young fellows as well to even start up to build up that ecosystems. So yeah,
Thank
great
you,
man.
Santosh.
Yeah, two things. I really like your logo. Right.
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
Calcutta
Thank you.
Calling. the phone thing is amazing. And second, so everyone who is listening to this, just get to know whenever you start your startup, right? Uh, cybersecurity is something that's really important, and you would need a single point of truth. So when you start, please make sure that you take up Xeron.
Absolutely. And I'm sure anybody listening, please consider Xeron, look at the product offerings, reach out to any four of the
Yeah,
founders here, and we'd love to spread the
there
word
was a
around.
reason. There was a reason I mentioned that, and this was something that we lacked when we started. To everyone,
Hmm.
try to be a salesperson. If you are doing a
Yeah,
startup, try to be a salesperson. This is something that we really struggled for a lot of time. Even we could not pitch our product properly.
yeah,
Right? Doing sales is very important, and
yeah,
whatever happens, only like your revenue, your projections, everything is fine, but cash is the reality. Right?
yeah,
People would say that money is not everything and all those stuff, but
yeah,
when you get that, only then speak those stuff, right?
yeah. I think the two
It
things
is
I remember.
something that
Yeah.
would make or break things. You will go to workshops where people would say create impact, do
Hmm.
vision and all this. Money would flow in. First make
Yeah.
money flow in, and then everything else can fall in place. This is one thing
Yeah.
that I want to spread across everyone and anyone doing a startup in Kolkata.
No, wonderful, Sanket. And what you mentioned reminded me, I think, one Shah Rukh Khan's quote. First you get rich and then you become a philosopher. Nobody
Then you
wants to
become
listen to a
philosopher.
poor philosopher.
Yeah.
And the other is obviously is sales is a life skill, it's a life skill, just like swimming or whatever other things that you need, cooking maybe. But yeah, sales is a life skill. It helps you survive. So thank you, Team Zeron, for giving us time. And please, Kolkata Calling is a small community page. Don't hack our accounts just to test our vulnerability penetration testing. Whatever you do, don't do anything to our account. But lovely having all four of you here. Pleasure talking to you, and may you continue to grow. And we would love to have you back in some time again once you hit another big milestone. So thank you. Have a great Sunday.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you so much.
Same to you.
Thank you, everyone.